know that Alphonso always has the ability to play further up the pitch. The way we kind of rotate our tactics when we're with the ball, we want him to get further up the field and be a real attacking player. So we're constantly evaluating, what's the best spot for him. I still think the defensive foundation for us as a group is really important. But if Richie or Sam Adekugbe continue to establish themselves, then there is potential to use Alphonso in different positions higher up the pitch where he can be more an outright attacking player. But again, I think the foundation that we've created in the team is so much about how sound and good we can be defensively.
This is state of the squad on match night, and this exact conversation was probably made 5 years ago. It might have even been made 8 years ago. Alphonso Davies, where do we play him? We still don't have an answer. And the supporters even are split right down the middle. So we can't even seek guidance from them. Where do we play him? Is he a left back? Half of you say yes. Is he a left wing? Half of you say yes. Well, 2%, what's that, goalkeeper? Number 9? I don't know what the other.
Remember where he played in the 2022 World Cup against Morocco?
Excellent.
They played him on the right.
All right. KJ is representing the other 2%.
No, I'm definitely not representing it.
Let's not do that.
Okay, so if we don't seem to know, and Jesse March hints that, look, it's Alphonso Davies. He can kind of play wherever he wants. But at some point, we keep saying it, eventually it will be true, he's going to have a defined role. If we were playing a knockout game tomorrow, and I hate the we, so if they were playing a knockout game tomorrow, I apologize, where would you put Alphonso Davies? Left back, left wing, or other, KJ?
It's a knockout game, and imagine it's a top opponent. I think left back. Look, we've talked about this a few weeks ago, and I was leaning towards seeing him further higher up the pitch. But I think more people think that it's more important to understand what I think they're going to do than what I would do.
Sure.
I still think when you listen to what Jesse Marsh is saying, and he used the word foundation at least twice there in that little clip, their defensive foundation is so important to him. And that, in his mind, is Alistair Johnston, Moise Bombito, Derek Cornelius, and Alphonso Davies. Now, we can get into the fact that Alphonso Davies hasn't produced as an offensive threat under Jesse Marsh yet. But what Jesse Marsh would say is that how comfortable he is with him being at left back and keeping those clean sheets, which are so important. As we know, this country will be defined by what they do at the World Cup. So I think that is probably the answer, although I still think, we can get into this later with the midfield, is that one of the big conundrums around this team is how do you break down teams in low blocks? You couldn't do it in the Gold Cup, and maybe that's where you think about against, quote-unquote inferior opposition, you're moving forward.
I think it's so difficult as a manager because when you have the best player that's ever played for Canada, I think every time he plays, you want to be like, you maximize his energy, his potential. Every single time. You don't want to be like, oh, he used 70%. And that's why I feel like he should play high up the pitch. Specifically of how Marsh plays, how he wants to be on the front foot, how he wants to go and be direct and get in the face of the opposition. We've seen Canada press against Guatemala with 10 men. Pressing is just a part of the DNA. Winning back the ball high, being aggressive 1v1, that's the way to do it. So when I look at this team, and you mentioned foundational piece, Larea can do that job, Adekugbe could do that job, Basong could do that job. Of course, it's going to take maybe a certain day and a moment to be like, who is the guy to do it? But you know who can't do the job better on the left wing? Alphonso Davies is the guy to do it. I don't think there's a player to do it better than what he could potentially do if you trust him in that spot. So, okay, all is not lost. What'd you say, June 12th? If you're playing him at left back and he's maybe wearing the captain's armband and he's going up and down that left side, cool. But there's always going to be a part of me that thinks he can maybe change the game at left wing that he just can't do at left back.
Quickly, though, if you're playing right back against Alphonso Davies, and you know that Canada are a favourite to win that game in the World Cup, and you're playing for the other team, and you see him coming from a left wing back, left back position, coming quickly in transition, moving faster, is it easier to defend him at that moment, or is it harder to defend him at that moment than if he's playing higher up and everything is quickly at source and the ball comes to him and you're there right away?
I understand what you're getting at, and I think it's probably easier defending him at a left wing position, but also what I think about is obviously when Alphonso Davies has speed and space, that's when he's most dangerous.
Yeah.
But I also think there's so many matches where you look at him and the halftime comes and he's made 2 runs that maybe led to a cross. And I just, in my heart and my soul, I just feel like he's wasted there. Because I want to see him at a point, even if he gets the ball 7 times at his feet and he runs out a defender, I would rather that. If Marsh's system was made for a low block and maybe there's space to attack, cool. But everything is front-facing. Everything is, hey, you get the ball and teams are playing. We've seen them do it against Argentina, the Netherlands, France. Everyone wants to get in their face, win the ball high at the pitch. There's no one I want more on that left side than Alphonso Davies smelling the breath of a right back. That's what I want.
All right, let's get to some fan comments. Arc_on, the answer is yes, which I quite enjoyed. Ideally left wing, but left back is great too, says EQ More 75. Just be healthy and fit and fast.
Yeah, we want that.
Not asking for much, just healthy, fit, and fast.
Nice.
Matt Reimer says, change the formation, curveball, to 3-4-2-1, deploy Fonzie as a left wing back. I think this kind of formation just works better with our current squad. And this from Chris Paul, left back, it's his natural position. When he's fit, he's arguably one of the best at it in the world. So, with the debate of where he should play, and it will keep happening. It will keep happening heading into the 2030 World Cup. The question that we want to ask now, Jordan, is what have we learned about Alphonso Davies in these big moments, regardless of where he's playing? When the spotlight is the brightest, the stage is the biggest, what have we learned about Canada's captain?
We learned that obviously he's so dynamic, and I think that was reaffirmed. I think everyone always knew that, but what I've learned and what I've looked at when I watch this team is that he needs the consistency. So if it is left back, play him there week in, week out, or every time they're together. It's not club football. Every time that they meet, play him at that left back position. Look, KJ, all is not lost if June 12th comes and Alphonso Davies is healthy and is at a left back position and doing what you said, running at the right backs or creating crosses. That's fine. But I also think you cannot have a situation like the last World Cup where sometimes he's playing right wing, he's playing cam, center. You're not going to get the most out of him. I think it's very difficult. Not many players that I know or that I played with or that I see could just jump from position to position and give quality. You need that consistency, and I think that's what's been reaffirmed as of late.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating because he's not going to play for Canada for a year. I just don't expect him to play till March.
Yeah.
So you think about that, it's a long time. Think about what's going on and what's developing and how much they keep talking about the squad being broadened and different leaders stepping up, and Jonathan David and now Stefano Stacchio, different things. He's going to come back into that squad as a captain that's already evolved so much in a year without him being there. And that's difficult. Yeah. It's not only difficult as a player, it's difficult to anything. If you think about any time in life, if you're away from a group for a year, and he has to evolve himself back into that squad and get the trust back of his players, what he can do. He has to be one of 11, not one of one. And I think that's really the next step for him to be able to do that. Now, he's at an unbelievable club that shows the ability to do that every week, team first. But I think that is the number one priority, that for me, and then we'll see him grow.
Well, one of 11, but also one of 4 if you have him in the back line. If you don't have him in the back line, let's stop talking about left backs for 2 minutes and talk about 2 center backs and a right back. Are those positions locked in? 2024 was the year of the emergence of the Canadian backline. 2025 has been a parade of injuries so far, but when everyone's fit, everyone's healthy, Johnston, Bombito, Cornelius, is that locked in, or is there still some room to tinker, KJ?
It's locked in for me. And I think it's a problem if it's not. I think if they don't have Alistair Johnston and they don't have Cornelius and they don't have Bombito, I'd be concerned. And I think there's other areas. Nico Segur can play there. Yeah. Luc Dufour-Giroux coming forward and stepping up. Derek Cornelius needs to play, and whether he gets another move or not, but he's been excellent as a leader there. He was a leader in the Gold Cup. But that man there, for me, Moise Bombito, is just a gem. And I'm hopeful he's back in October to play in Quebec, which will be really special for him, because I think Canada is still yet to understand just how good he is. So I would have that locked in.
It is locked in. Like all chips forward, that is, honestly, the back four we kind of know, but I'm hoping that Jesse Marsh is watching this, wherever the camera is, and just saying, maybe push Alphonso Davies higher. But KJ's so right. Like, you know the back four and the foundational pieces. Like, he brought it up just in the conversation with you right there, and it's so important. And that's why, you remember, you reminded everyone, that's why he took the job as well, right? Like, the back four, it's the pillar. That's what you build from. And then the rest you kind of explore and you can flirt with, but you need a team that is resolute, and that's what that back four gives you.
Important clarification. Is this Valor in the playoffs in March locked in?
Who's this guy today? What is he on?
Different level of locked in?
I'm hurt. No, but I'm hurt by Valor.
You did a lot of work here.
That's a different conversation.
Listen, I step off this set for a few months, and he comes in the booth with me. I come back here, and he's demanding cameras now. Like, he's changed. Gone is our steel lunch pail, sweet Jordan. He's a full TV.
I went from beginner to intermediate, baby. I stepped up a little bit, bit by bit.
All right, we got to take a break. Before we get there, let's remind you of the upcoming dates for Canada's international window in Europe. Bucharest is where they will play their first match. It is September the 5th. It is at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and then they're in Wales. KJ, they go to Wrexham someday? Canada? It's like to see that?
Not really.
KJ, not interested in Wrexham in the slightest. You know what KJ is interested in?
A little bit.
Midfielders. That's next on Match Night.